Welcome to another episode of the Headlight Restoration Pro, where I'll be showing you how to take these 2K clear lights and turn them into something classy like this.
Wow!
Very nice. Like the day they rolled off the lot, mostly. Minus a little side effects from the 2K clear.
The Headlight Restoration Pro.
Now let's get down to business. This is a 2006 Mercedes SL500, a Mercedes sports car. Retailed about $90,000+ when it came out, and even right now still retails for about 20 grand in this condition that this vehicle is in. Somebody once upon a time sprayed these lights with 2K clear. This is what 2K clear looks like when it's going bad, and guess what? Look at that. Those chunks down there at the bottom, those are still clear, which is actually part of the problem. Okay, so like I was saying, it's still clear, which is part of the problem. When it goes bad, it doesn't yellow, it doesn't mess up, it doesn't do anything. It just starts flaking off and starts being brittle, and the surface starts getting degraded and chipping and stuff like that. But the problem with that is you can go way further than the time that you need to take it off. Okay, with that being said, it's staying clear. See how he's shaving those pieces off here? This is the best way to get it done, but we'll go into that in a minute. It goes, bad, but stays clear, and you see how messed up this light is? This top part is, completely naked, and it pretty much degrades the light if you keep it on there too long, and you don't know how long to keep it on there because it stays clear until it's bad. So what I'm gonna have to do is resurface the headlight, which is actually grinding into the headlight surface, which you don't want to have to do too many times. Other headlight certified products will go bad, and they'll go bad on top of the headlight instead of the headlight going bad underneath the coating. This is one of the major problems with 2K clear. But anyways, let's go into what I'm doing here. As you see, this is my work knife here. It's super sharp. It's listed in the bio now as well. It's super sharp and super sturdy. Okay, and it clicks in place, and it's just a really sturdy, sharp knife. I've tried this method with razor blades, and I have them as well, and even razor blade knives with the holders in them, but they don't work as good. This has different edges. You see that little flake? That's what we're trying to do. We're just flaking it off. We're shearing it off because we can at this point. It's old enough to do so. It is a lot more troublesome to try to powerhouse or grind it off with the sandpaper. You want to get as much as you can off like this when it's flaking. See that? It just shears off. It just, falls off. When the meguiars goes bad, it's going to stay on there like this, and it's just going to be easy to take off, literally like in a couple minutes, a minute or two. On this light, it would have took, if it was the meguiars coating that I use on these videos, it would have took like 2 minutes to take off of this light, but now we're having to do this. And a fun fact about this light is that another company, not disclosing what name or whatnot, tried to do these lights and ran into a problem they've never run into. And I was explaining to them about the 2K clear. Not sure if they used 2K clear or whatever, but they had a funny look on their face when I was explaining to them what's wrong with this light, because they tried to get this stuff off and they couldn't get it off. It kept gumming up, and they actually damaged this person's light. I'll show you that here. You might have seen that little burn over there to the right. They're using tools that are way too high powered to use in headlight restoration. I'm pretty sure, because my tool wouldn't do that unless you just tried and had it, it doesn't have enough torque, and this is why I use these tools that I use. They obviously had something with a lot of torque right there. You kind of see by my hand, my finger. and it pretty much burnt the headlight. It burnt some of the old 2K into the headlight. So I'm going to try to remove as much as I can and make it look good. But anyways, they called me out to fix their mistakes, and now I'm getting paid by them per se, or by the customer, and whatever they promised to pay, whatever the customer promised to pay for the services from them. Obviously, they're going to be paying more now, and they have to take up the slack for me to get the customer what they wanted. So I run into this a lot because of my experience. But you see that part right there? Yeah, so they pretty much use something like a Milwaukee or a Makita, something that's like a really high power drill, and too much torque, and it pretty much burnt the headlight and burnt in the 2K clear in the headlight. With the 2K clear, the reason why I'm not using the drill right now is because it's so hard to remove. You always have to keep the drill or the surface of the disc moving from side to side or different areas per se, to keep it from not overheating, because once the 2K clear overheats when you're removing it, it gums up. It turns kind of like a gel or a liquid, and it moves to one side. If you kind of see, that's like a smear right there. It smears and then cools hard again, which is another problem with removing this. It is the hardest substance that I've had removed from headlights. I've always dread and kick my feet and I'm pissed when I have to remove this, because I have to work 10 times harder to remove it, which is why I strongly believe that most people that use this product on headlights never, really remove what they had to do. And that's not a good thing, Like I said, you have to have indicators to tell you when it's time to remove. You have to have something that goes bad so you can remove it, instead of something that doesn't ever go bad to the day it dies. It doesn't even go bad when it dies. So your light is going bad underneath it. It's totally the opposite effect that you want. So now that I'm scraping off most of this stuff here, we're going to go ahead and see about this little burn here momentarily. But first, let's go ahead and check out my power blower here. We're going to blow off all these flakes, get them out the way. Okay, let's check out this burn. Now, it's really raised. If you can see it, it's raised like, way off the headlight. This is partially that the 2K clear, like I said, goes liquid if you run it too hard, and also burning into the headlight. So it's kind of burnt into the headlight, and the little bit of the headlight, also the 2K clear has raised and just solidified, cooled off and solidified back on this headlight from too much torque and trying to put too much effort into one area at one time. Like I said, with dry sanding or any kind of sanding method, you want to kind of keep it moving as much as possible. You don't want to think of taking it all off in one swoop. You want to, I'm going to, get to where I need to be in this one particular area in about 5 or 6 passes. You don't want to think I'm just going to drill it off. I'm going to hold a drill here. You never want to do that. And this is what this person does. It's a valuable lesson learned. I've done it before. I'm not perfect. But, you live, you learn from experience. I've done this before, and I'm experienced in fixing this. This particular one, I didn't have too much hope in. I was trying to fix it as best I can, but they really did a number on this. So far, I've got most of the 2K clear off now, so now I'm just removing the piece of the headlight that is bubbled over, and it's a mixture, but I'm going to try to remove this as much as possible. Okay, so going to be fast forwarding a little bit through here to shorten this video down some, because we're going to be doing both sides here. This is actually the easier side I wanted to start with. Usually I do the harder side first, but when it's a challenge, you're not sure how it's going to come out, and you got to kind of like test the waters. I usually start with the lighter side, which was this one. The other side's way worse. So anyways, here we go. Starting with the 320. Normally, I start my process with the 500. Being that this light is so heavily damaged, you see that haze? It's naked right now. These lights are naked. They have a little bit of residue from the 2K clear left behind on the surface, but the actual light itself is heavily damaged from the 2K clear. In two ways, it's damaged from the 2K clear. It's damaged, first of all, using the double stuff method too, because this light is really round, and that centerpiece right there, that's split like a butt. Yeah, like an ass right there. You know, it's good to use the double stuff method, and also the double stuff method is gonna lessen the 320 grind on the light a little bit. But anyways, like I said, there's two reasons why this light looks so beat up and it's so unclear and it's mostly naked. It's because the 2K clear, for one, it bonds too hard to the headlight. Okay. Believe it or not, it bonds extremely hard. It's not really meant to bond to clear surfaces and, you know, to be used this way, per se. It's not meant for headlights, okay? This was definitely the regular 2K clear. This was not the one that's for headlights, which is pretty much the same thing. It's just a little more clear. Anyhow, the two reasons is it's too abrasive. It bonds to the headlight too hard, okay? It doesn't have an adequate amount of UV protection in it. It protects your headlights in a different way. You saw how, the same way, but more so in a different way. You see how it was just ever clear, how it's just a clear substance. It's just a real clear substance that does not degrade. That doesn't mean it's the best for headlights. Doesn't mean it's good for headlights. It doesn't degrade in a discoloring fashion. So what happens is, you know, it doesn't have an adequate amount of UV protection. It's more like an Everclear product. It's clear. It's going to be clear, like glass or something. It doesn't mean it's protecting your headlights correctly. Okay, so what happens is your headlights go bad underneath it, as well as it bonding too hard. When I say bonding too hard, it pretty much, you know, pockmarked and over, I don't know, made the headlight kind of weird on the surface and discolored and foggy, you know, from bonding. You don't see it because it's on there, but once it's on there or removed, you know, saw how it was flaked off and you saw how it looked. That's part of the side effects. Okay, that's the two number one side effects of them are actually the three. Number one, it's insanely hard to remove. Number two, it bonds too hard. And number three, it degrades the headlight underneath the actual material. The material is you know, so hard, it you know, it's still going to stay there. It's still going to be clear, as you saw me flaking off those clear flakes. It's still going to be clear, but the headlight underneath is going to go bad, which is not a good thing, especially when it's so difficult to take off. Now, once again, you're witnessing the easy one. The next headlight that I'm going to do on here, that is the other side, is extremely worse. It's just a mess. It has so much stuff wrong with it and so much stuff going on because this 2K clear has been sprayed on it and they have tried to remove it. And this is another company that is a professional company out my way that does headlight restoration. It does mobile headlight restoration, one of my competitors. But they know what the business is. You know, this happens all the time, a couple times a year, where I have to fix a detail shop issue because they try to do something that they know, you know, or their tech try to do something that they're not quite qualified or skilled enough to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just they're gonna have to call somebody like me when you mess up. You know, they know who is who around here. And that's not to give myself a big head or nothing. I'm just saying what it is. I'm explaining the situation. And it happens at least 4 times a year. But anyhow, there's so many negative points to using 2K clear. And obviously and honestly, the 2K clear, I refer to, I try not to say the names, but one of them has a headlight version. They're pretty much the same. One's just a little bit more optically clear, which means it lets out a little bit more light. Okay, but far as all these side effects, the same thing happens. But you see how long I'm just leaving my drill in that area? I'm still moving it, but all in one area, because the torque is different on these mid-level, these Ryobis and everything under these Black & Deckers, and just mid-level drill is what you want. You don't want the super high-tech drill where a guy is going to be using it. He's getting it because he's going to be using it for 50 years in the trade of building houses and shit. You don't want those ones. You don't want a fucking $500 drill going into, town on these lights. If you check out the RPM differences, it's crazy. This one I believe has 500 RPM. If you check the torque, the RPM is different too, but if you check the torque ratio, you see how I sprayed a little water there? Now that's just to lubricate it and to keep it cool, because I'm gonna have to do a lot of drilling right there. So you never seen me do that before with a disc. This is actually wet sanding. This is just to keep it cool, and this is to not burn that spot, because I'm going to be in that spot for a long time messing with that stuff, longer than I should be. But anyways, the drill, this drill right here probably has about 500 foot-pounds of torque. Some of those other ones have like 700, 800, 900, 1200. And that makes a difference, because this drill right here, I can set it to where it gets to a certain level of torque. It'll go, it'll hit a corner, and it'll go, it'll stop. It won't do it. Now, the other ones will just power through it, and you don't want that. You hit those corners, and it doesn't go, it's going to fucking up those corners. It's going to burn those corners up. It's going to burn those spots up. So now that I finished with doing all that stuff, getting most of it off, resurfacing most of the surface damage from the clear coat. Now I'm using where, pretty much starting at the beginning, my normal beginning with the P500. And, once I said, like I always said, you want to use it on the sensitive areas, the fresh pads on the sensitive area first. And that is going to be that butt crease right there. So anyways, so we're starting once again, and we're just following through with the normal method with the 500, and then we're going to go to the 800, then we're going to go on and on like I normally do with this light. So primarily, we wanted to remove all this junk. So, being that you know what this looks like on this, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this a little bit. Bear with me. Okay, once again, I was using the duffel stuff method, but don't be afraid to remove that top pad and go ahead and hit those sensitive areas real good. And this is with the P500 once again. You can get those crowns, you get that butt crease right there, which is really difficult to get. It's, it's going to push your pad looking like a V or a U once you're in motion of grinding. But right here, when you're doing this, you can just get right in there real good without, anything. Use it by hand with just a naked pad or naked interface pad. Okay, gonna speed through this one here to get to the end so we can look at this other light and see how bad this one is and get through that as well. But anyways, using the double stuff method here with the P800, of course. Alright. Smoothing it out. Gotta remove all that damage that we used from the 320 and that we, acquired by the 320 and the 500. Blowing it off there. Using the P800 right there and the crack, the butt crack right there. Also doing something new, if you catch this here. This is a double stuff with the hand sander. This just to get into those you know, crevices and that butt crack there, and you know, all that stuff, milking it up here, getting all those fine scratches out. That is an important step of any light, or most lights. Some lights don't need it because the texture of them don't allow for too many residual scratches, but most lights do. This is the P3000 right here, and some water, just regular tap water using. Also using the double stuff method on the P3000 on this one. Some cleaner, regular glass cleaner. This is industrial kind, diluted, just buy in bulk. They have the links, everything is linked in the bio. Cleaning it off, got to clean up all the surrounding areas, good, always a nice sterile environment. And that's to work up to this finished product. You don't want anything dripping or blowing into your final seal. This is the moment you're working everything up to, and you're preparing for that final seal. You know, doing the dab method here with my AC Delco polisher and my Finesse It 3-inch Finesse It orange 3M pad with the 3M hard lens plastic polish. This is one of my favorite polishers. Our plastic or headlight polishes. It's the best one I've discovered yet. Have some new ones I'm going to be trying out here. Always trying to evolve. If you know, if something can beat this, you know, I'm you know, susceptible to usage. Just, you know, have to test everything first. You'll be seeing some of that in the future. But anyways, look how clear this thing looks already. Wow. Always a clean microfiber towel, especially before the step, because you don't want any residue or anything sticking to the light. You know, any kind of oil or any kind of anything you've used a towel on before, you don't want it sticking to this point. This is, like I said, the point that you work up to. This is the meguiars headlight coating. Go ahead and slow that down, let you see that. One generous coat. The instructions say 2, but you can go ahead and check out a video of mine, why not to double coat. I'm going to explain to you why I don't do that. And it's not going to come out as good. It's not going to last as long, believe it or not. But check out that clarity on that light. Wow. Almost perfect. Perfect. Look at this. Except for that little area there, I got as much as I can out, but the actual light is burnt through and through. This light looks really good, but believe it or not, it could be even more better if they didn't use a 2K clear. You can't really see it in this tint. It's not a super sunny day, but it's just a little something there. Although the naked eye and regular people will be able to tell that, or be able to, you know, see, oh, it's perfect. You know, I can tell that it has a little slight haze to it, but that's just my perfection of my eyes. But see the weather out. It's a cold, windy morning. Winter time is definitely here, but you know, I work in all weathers. So I got the fans out, air drying it, but look how perfect that is. Look how clear that is. And it's headlight certified equipment, headlight certified material. You know, why not use it? It makes no sense. You know, it's designed for headlights, right, for a reason. By scientists, by people who make millions of dollars a year, by companies that have billions and millions and trillions of dollars. So you're not going to listen to them. I have no idea why. But this is the second light we're going to be going into. This is you know, the bad one. Look at this car. Really nice. Big old giant engine inside of it. Pretty car. But look how bad this one is. This is the one we're going to get off into right now versus the one we just did. This one's the harder one. We're going to be fast forwarding through this too. Want to keep this time lowered on this video, which has already ended up being a little long, but forgive me. Go ahead and continue to watch, and you'll see some more awesome stuff coming up here. Once again, trying to shave off most of this 2K clear off the light. This one doesn't flake up as much. It just has a lot of smeared on stuff from them trying to remove it. I think this is the point where they either started on this light and it's like, let's try the other light, or they started on the other light and it's like, this light is messed up, so let's try this one. And then they did a lot more craziness on this light here.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of to have to call somebody or reach out for people. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And this is what I reassured them. Like, I've came into problems like this, and everybody's skill set is at a different level. And everybody, some people just jumped out there and started doing them. And like I've said before, I did probably 30 in my garage and, got stuff from Pick and Pull and practiced on my car and practiced on, free hoopties that were broke down on the side of the road. If I asked somebody, not literally on the side of the road, but like somebody's house and be like, do you mind if I do this headlight restoration or whatever? I probably did 30, 40 lights before I even did my first professional light. And then from there, I went to, doing friends and families and, stuff like that before I even said, hey, this is a business, I'm doing this. So it's different skill sets and different things. And there's nothing to be ashamed about by not being able to, finish or do whatever. I've had lights where I've had to tell people, I stop right there. Usually I'm so scary. I would have did a test spot and been like, nah, man, I can't do your lights. Something's wrong with shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm out. And that's it. I'm not going to go there and keep trying to beat a dead horse, because then stuff like this happens and you're freaking out. Like, I'm going to have to buy this guy's lights. And by the way, these lights are just shy of $2,000 a piece. Huh. Yeah, I'd be pooping my pants too and looking for the best person that can do this shit. Believe me, I've been there, but I had to improvise myself because there's really not that many people that are good, at least in my area. I've had to, pull a rabbit out of a hat many times. But these guys went to looking on Google or whatever, found me, and and as much as they hurt their pride, and I reassured them that these things happen, and it happened to me, and happened to other people I know, and other companies have called me this year to do this. This is the fourth one that it happens, and it's not a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal. You got to be a little more careful. Don't be afraid to tell the customer, no, I can't do it. It's too messed up. You got to get somebody else. But yeah, just under $2,000 a piece for each headlight, per headlight. And that's without installation. So if you have to pay somebody to install it because you don't know how to install the headlights, or that person doesn't want you to work on their vehicle because you're not a mechanic, and they want the mechanic to put it in their vehicle, I mean, you're looking at like another $400 aside probably. So it snowballs and it gets crazy. But this light had to use more 320s, of course. It was more material to remove, so I had to use more of them to get to this desired point, to be able to use the 500s and the 800s and the P3000 and whatnot. And same process. It's just you just take a little bit longer, kind of like a prequel, or before you start you have to get it to a certain point and get all this muck off. I'm going to be stopping here shortly to show you a side effect of the 2K clear on this light. It's either one or two ways that this happened. But I'll be going into that here shortly in a minute, so stay tuned for that. We're at the polishing step right here, of course. Everything that I'm using, once again, is listed in the bio. And also, please subscribe and stay tuned for future content. And also have a lot of other content besides this video up. But as promised, I wanted to show you a little something of the side effects of the 2K Clear. I don't know if the camera's not picking up too much, but you can kind of see in this general area here, there's a raised point, quite significant raised point of the actual headlight surface. This can come in either two ways. It's one of the dangers of 2K Clear. Either, you see all that fog right there as well. This happened one of two ways. I believe it's the 2K Clear. Sometimes the adhesiveness of it damages the headlights. Also, sometimes when it goes bad on top of the headlights, weird things happen. The headlights start to fog over. The actual material starts to fog over inside of the headlight, and that comes from either the abrasiveness or the heat of the sun baking the headlight underneath the clear coat. Also here, there's some spider cracking or some cracking, which also has to do with overheating of the headlight from the sun primarily. And, in this area here, like I said, or, even another danger of removing these 2K Clears, not from me, but from the other guys who tried, is sometimes it's so difficult if you don't watch what you're doing. You can damage the surface of the headlight trying to remove it because it's so hard. You see how hard I had to work to remove it, but I take my time and go slow. I obviously didn't do it if it is, but I say it's about a 60-40 split. 60% it's probably the 2K Clear, about 40% it is the guys who try to take it off, but it's a significant bubble, and it's not like the burn on the other light. It's just like from overheating. It's a more of a warping instead of a burn, which comes from overheating. This one primarily strikes me as overheating from the 2K Clear and sun reaction, which is pretty much just the headlight overheats because there's not adequate amount of UV protection and insulators and stuff like that inside of this formula, like there is in headlight certified formulas, which are designed for headlights, designed to withstand heat and designed to withstand UV damage. Also designed with light expenditure and thought process, meaning the light needs to escape the headlight properly for visibility. So how about it? Are you going to spend about $2,500 per side of headlights to fix the problem, or are you going to call me? Check it out. This customer could not believe how awesome these lights came out. But as you see, this little area here, that's not LED burn. That is actually inside, embedded in the glass, or in the plastic. It looks so good right now, I want to call it glass. But I explained to him about that, and it didn't have anything to do per se with the person who tried to do it before me. It had to do with somebody who sprayed 2K Clear on these lights in the past. Either way it went, but look at them. Pretty nice. Check out this vehicle though. Really good looking car. Probably pretty fast as well. This car retailed near $100,000, about $90,000 when it debuted. Still, even as a 2006, in this condition, low mileage, still sells for about 20 grand, believe it or not. So you can tell right there, it's not a normal vehicle. Stay tuned, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
The Headlight Restoration Pro.